labor camps up north there in Siberia. And that's Trevor Reed from Texas, Paul Whelan from Michigan. And so they're calling more attention to the plight of those two Americans who are detained right now in Russia. We'll have more on that in just a moment. Yet we do want to move on to some of the other stories we have yet to get to. COVID-19, the Delta variant is surging, the coronavirus making a comeback. Nearly every state across the country is seeing an uptick in cases. And joining me right now is Fox's Jayla Whitfield, live for us in Atlanta, outside the CDC headquarters. Jayla, what is the latest with the Delta variant and a lot of these COVID headlines of the day?
Well, just like you said, these restrictions are increasing and mask mandates are being put back in place across the country. Just earlier this week, the CDC announced that vaccinated Americans can still get the Delta variant and they can spread it. They also announced that vaccinated and unvaccinated Americans should be wearing a mask. President Biden actually just got done speaking within the last hour, and he is saying the same thing, that we need to get vaccinated in order to protect each other and ourselves. Only 49.3% of the U.S. population is fully vaccinated. And as the shift in restrictions take place nationwide, some vaccine distributors like Pfizer are suggesting a booster shot to help protect against the Delta variant. The vaccine manufacturer says the Pfizer vaccine becomes less effective over time, but a third dose will help. Dr. Carlos Del Rio, the infectious disease and global health professor at Emory University, says the Pfizer booster may be useful, but we do not have all of the information just yet. Rio says at this point in time, the best booster is for unvaccinated people to get vaccinated.
And quite frankly, I think that as a country, we squander the opportunity to do what needed to be done. If we had vaccinated over 70% of our country, we would not be where we are right now. Right now, we are having a very transmissible form of the virus, a variant called the Delta variant that is highly transmissible, and is primarily infecting those that are unvaccinated.
You know, at first there were nearly 3 million shots going into arms every day, but now that number has drastically decreased. Rio says he sees patients in the hospital and most of them are unvaccinated. He says if you're not vaccinated, this virus is going to find you and it's going to infect you. The CDC has also changed their guidance for vaccinated Americans that come in contact with the virus. They suggest those vaccinated, they may come in contact and have no symptoms, should still get tested. President Biden made it clear that this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated in his press conference within the last hour. He says that we must get arms and must get shots in the rest of these arms, and he's providing incentives to make that happen. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Jayla, let's just go over some of the headlines from President Biden's remarks. We aired them live, and that the news of that is the requirement for 2.1 million federal workers to either show proof of vaccination or regular test themselves for the virus. Let's go over some of those other headlines, too. What struck out to you, if you were listening?
Yeah, of course, I was definitely listening, and that struck out, but it also struck out to me, a lot of the questions that popped up in that press conference were about the private companies. Will private companies start requiring that you get this vaccine? And you know, President Biden didn't have a clear answer for that. He couldn't tell us if private companies were going to start doing that, but he said that he does hope that they will follow suit, that will follow his lead in this process. Another thing that stuck out to me was with schools. He's saying that everyone needs to go back to school to protect children's mental health, but he's also saying that everyone in those schools must wear masks in order to keep people safe. So we're definitely going to keep watching this as it continues to unfold and have updates throughout the rest of the weeks.
All right, Fox's Jayla Whitfield there live for us outside the CDC headquarters in Atlanta. We'll talk to you again. All right, we do want to move